Hello and welcome to Tête à Tête here on France 24. Our guest today is Maria Corina Machado. She is the leader of the Venezuelan opposition. She joins us from an undisclosed location in Venezuela. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure.
On July 28th, the presidential election took place. You were supposed to be the opposition candidate. However, you were barred from running. And in your stead, veteran diplomat Edmundo Gonzalez ran. And according to independent exit polling, voting machine receipts, he defeated the incumbent Nicolas Maduro by a 2-1 margin. However, Maduro was proclaimed the winner with 51% of the vote. So since the election on July 28, you have gone essentially into hiding. Are you under threat of arrest, and are you considering moving from Venezuela?
Well, thank you very much. Everybody involved in the immense victory the Venezuelan people had on July 28th is today under a big threat. And I know I'm not considering leaving Venezuela. We won by a landslide with the rules of the tyranny, under all kind of persecution, censorship, with our team members either in hiding in prison or under asylum. We won that campaign and that election, and in less than 24 hours, we managed to collect over 84% of the tally sheets. We scanned them. They are on a web page, so the whole world has seen them. Maduro, in the aftermath of the election being defeated, decided to unleash the biggest repression wave we've seen so far. The Inter-American Commission for Human Rights have been said that he had committed practices of state terrorism, as well as the High Commissioner of Human Rights of the United Nations. So this is a very difficult moment, but believe me, every day that goes by, Maduro is weaker and weaker, and we are going to prevail our fight until Edmundo Gonzalez is sworn as the constitutional president of Venezuela.
Edmundo Gonzalez decided to leave Venezuela a couple of weeks ago. He said after arriving in Spain that he had been pressured to leave. Nevertheless, the regime says he went because he decided to go. It is a big blow for the opposition if the person you say won the election decided to leave the country.
Well, I think it has worked the other way around, actually. The regime certainly threatened him with his life and his family. And while he was in an embassy in Caracas, he was pressed to leave the country. And so he decided that he was much more useful for our cause, being free abroad and promoting our cause and fighting with a fourth of Venezuelan population that have been forced to leave than in a prison in Venezuela. And I think the Venezuelan people share this view, and we believe it actually backfired for the regime, this action.
Well, this begs the question, why aren't you doing the same? Because I imagine you must also be concerned about what might happen to you.
We are all concerned what might happen to us because we have very dear friends and colleagues that are today in prison or under asylum. And but the fact is that the Venezuelan people are determined to keep fighting. This Saturday, it's 2 months from our victory, and you will see a global mobilization, not only in cities around the world, but also we will have hundreds of protests in Venezuela as well. So I believe it is my position and my duty to be here with our people, even though we face these risks.
You're not scared?
Everybody's scared. But the thing is what you do with that.
What could stop Nicolas Maduro from being sworn in a few months? I mean, we've seen reactions from the international community. However, no European country, the US as well, has recognized Edmundo Gonzalez as the president-elect. They've condemned the election the way it was conducted, but they've not recognized him. Are you disappointed by the reaction, the position of Western countries?
Well, I would say not yet, but the European Parliament did, as well as the parliaments of many other countries, just yesterday, the Colombian Senate. And I think that everybody knows that Edmundo Gonzalez won. Everybody knows inside and outside Venezuela that it was by a landslide and that he is the president-elect. The point here is that we're facing a cruel tyranny, and Maduro won't go until the cost of staying in power is higher than the cost of leaving power. So all the things we need to do now is put pressure and increase that cost. There are many things taking place as we speak. At the United Nations General Assembly, the presidents are speaking up. There are pressures at the international justice as well. And I believe that as it took us a lot of effort and a lot of work to get into the victory of the election and to prove we won, now in this next phase, it will take, yes, more steps, more pressures, and some more days for this situation to evolve. But at the end, I believe Maduro will understand that his best option is to sit down and negotiate an orderly and peaceful transition in Venezuela.
So how do you get there? The option, which has been tried before, is sanctions. Do you want more EU, more US sanctions? Or do you think the way is to negotiate with Maduro? Maybe we know there are some indictments against him for narco trafficking in the US. There might be some kind of deals. This is the way to negotiate, or slap more sanctions on the regime?
I mean, you have to do everything it takes to make the regime understand that it is in their best interest to accept the terms of a negotiated transition. If you do not increase the cost of repression, he will keep on persecuting, detaining even children that have been accused of terrorism, women that have been even sexually abused while detained. And this is happening right now as we speak. So the cost of repression has to be increased. Those who have committed those crimes, the perpetrators, have to be held accountable. And at the same time, diplomatic pressure and financial pressure should be put on the regime. And while that goes on internationally, internally, we, the Venezuelan people, keep on moving ahead, organizing and defending the truth, popular sovereignty, what took place on July 28th. It is the first time in these 25 years of Chavismo that we are able to prove our victory. And there's no way back. We won't let go.
Well, are you disappointed by the mediation efforts of the Brazilian president, Lula, the Colombian president, Gustavo Petro? Would you like them to be more forceful, or do you think they can actually be the ones who bring Maduro to the table and negotiate what you're hoping for?
Well, I don't know. The answer is if they're going to be able or not. As you say, they haven't moved ahead, and Maduro is not responding to the demands both governments have made to him. As you know, these are neighbor countries, and certainly are the ones who are much higher impacted by what happens in Venezuela. I have to say, if Maduro prolongs this agony, it's going to be millions of Venezuelans that will leave our country. We already have the biggest migration crisis in the world. It's over 8 million people. 2, 3, 4 million Venezuelans fleeing is a huge problem for these two countries, as it is for Central America and even the United States. So this is a moment that there must be action, effective action, not only good intentions. We've never been so strong as we are right now. And every day that goes by, Maduro is more and more isolated. He's not only a dictator that pretends to rob an election, but he's a criminal. And it's been stated, as I say, even by the High Commissioner of the United Nations. So it's time to move ahead.
As a conclusion, you think those are the last days of the Maduro regime?
Well, I've always been asked how many days are left. And what I learned to live is one day at a time. I do believe that every day that goes by, we're closer to freedom and the possibility to bring our kids back home. Venezuela today is united. Yes, we won 70-30. If it had been a free election, it would have been at least 90-10. So this is a country that has decided to be free, and we will prevail.
Maria Corina Machado, I want to thank you very much for speaking to France 24 from an undisclosed location in Venezuela, and I want to thank you all for watching this show.